Wow, I'm back and I'm going to talk about more movies. And like every other episode that I've recorded of this show, I'm going to say next time I do this, I'm going to cover less movies or maybe even cover one movie. And that's not what I'm doing this time. And that's probably not what's going to happen next time. I'm coming into this recording prepared to talk about 4 movies this time. And I'm just jumping right into it because I don't want this to take forever. Part of the reason I feel like I keep getting caught up with more movies than I want to be talking about is that the Academy Awards are coming up very soon, and a lot of these smaller released Academy Award nominated films are only getting released in like my small local theaters now, months and months after their initial release or festival release. So as I'm taking the time out of my day to go see these new releases opening night, I'm also trying to parse in these releases of a few of these more critically acclaimed movies that came out late 2025 in anticipation for the 97th Annual Academy Awards. So I'm just going to dive into these in the order in which I saw them and hopefully have some revelation. Hopefully it's entertaining. And if all else fails, I'm going to put this on the internet and no one will listen to it. So that's fine. The first movie I want to talk about is fucking crazy. The first movie I'm going to talk about is Mary Bronstein's new movie, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. If anybody has seen anything about this movie, it is completely... The movie is 100% centered around Rose Byrne and her performance, and it's fucking incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I've been wanting to watch this movie ever since I had like read the synopsis of it and saw the trailer. I was dumbfounded at the end of this movie. You know, when you watch a film, I feel like, not all the time, but good writing has an effect on a viewer that includes being able to write your characters in a way such that the viewers can project themselves onto these characters to make them more relatable, I guess, and to kind of resonate more emotionally. Makes sense. Here's the thing. In this story where Rose Byrne plays a woman named Linda, who is a mother in an extremely kind of dire caregiving situation to her daughter, and married, and obviously a woman. I'm none of these things. Not a parent, not a woman, not a mother. And yet, everything Rose Byrne does in this movie, you can feel straight to your core. And every ounce of frustration and every ounce of glee, anything that she is portraying on screen, you feel it because it is so real and so raw. It was incredible. Let me back up a little bit. This movie, called If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, is directed by Mary Bronstein. Now, Mary Bronstein is not a name I was too familiar with. She's got very little credits to her professional career. I don't know if she wrote it, but she directed a movie called Yeast in 2008. And this is her follow-up in 2025. She acted in a few other movies as well, but there's only 4 credits here on her filmography. So, and I guess if I understand this correctly, you write what you know. And so Mary Bronstein, there's a huge kind of hiatus, if you will, in her career between the years of 2011, 2025. And it is because her daughter fell ill and she was put in a similar kind of situation that unfolds in this story. And thus we have If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Mary Bronstein is actually married to Ronald Bronstein, who is a frequent collaborator with the Safdie brothers, who brought us Uncut Gems, one of their more classic older ones, which I don't know if this was the first time he worked with them, was Daddy Longlegs, came out in 2009. He was in their movie Good Time, and Marty Scream as well. So there's a lot of kind of New York relationship connectivity around there. For sure. So that's kind of just the backstory of the Bronsteins, I guess I should say. But let me read the synopsis for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. While trying to manage her own life and career, a woman on the verge of a breakdown must cope with her daughter's illness, an absent husband, a missing person, and an unusual relationship with her therapist. This movie is all of those things and more, and in spades. You can feel that Rose Byrne's character is at her wit's end, on the edge of sanity, and riding that kind of razor thin line of like, the next thing that this woman does might be her last, because she might end up killing someone or killing herself. This movie was such a trip. Rose Byrne is incredible. There's a lot of very strange and very surrealistic like storytelling going on here, which lends itself really well to kind of the mania that Linda is experiencing. She's staying up late nights, constantly having to tend to her daughter's needs, getting no sleep, trying to be a single parent caregiver, also working a full-time job while her husband isn't there. She is, for all intents and purposes, super mom, but it's super mom on the brink of insanity, basically. I don't, for some of these newer movies too, I don't really know how I want to approach this podcast, but like, I don't know if I want to spoil them. Because I want to recommend this movie to anybody who potentially hears this, because this movie was fucking phenomenal. Rose Byrne was fucking phenomenal. And so Rose Byrne, for this performance, I believe won Best Actress at the Golden Globes, among a few other critic awards this year for her performance in this movie. Yeah. Nominated and or won at like a dozen or more film festivals, and obviously she is nominated for Best Actress at the Academy Awards coming up here. I don't off the top of my head who is all up for that this year. We have Rose Byrne, Jessie Buckley as Agnes in Hamnet. That was really affecting. Her performance is really affecting as well, and I would love to see Jessie Buckley win that. She's so charming in kind of like a timid, shy kind of way. Seeing her at like all these in all these interviews and award season and stuff like that. Kate Hudson, I didn't see Song Sung Blue, and it just like the idea of it just didn't grasp me, and that might not be a good thing to say, but that was just one that I really didn't have any interest in seeing. Oh boy, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this name. Renate Reinsve. I think it's the main daughter who plays in Sentimental Value, which also another fantastic movie, and she did a really good job. And Emma Stone in Begonia. Not here to speculate Academy Awards, especially since I only saw 4 of the 5 movies with Best Actress in them. But to me, this looks like a race between Jessie Buckley and Rose Byrne, and I would be happy to see either one of them win. So, go see this movie if you can. For sure. Is there anything else I want to mention about this movie before I move on? There's some other people in it. I don't think it's revealed who her husband is in the trailer. You might be able to surmise based off of his voice, which I do think is in the trailer, if that's interesting to you. But then we do get a face reveal he's in one scene for like 30 seconds, if that. But that was fun to see him as part of that. A$AP Rocky is also in this movie. Oh, obviously Conan. Conan is her therapist in this movie. But again, Conan, who I think is second build for this, has got 3 scenes, maybe 3 minutes or less each scene. This movie's purpose is to serve Rose Byrne and let her just go on a fucking roll. I'll say that I was talking about like the surrealistic imagery a little bit earlier, and I just want to say that like this is totally the kind of shit that I like to see. Very reminiscent of some like David Lynch, kind of like dreamlike kind of shit going on, unexplainable, just like wacko visuals. I won't say it's Lynchian, because I don't think it is Lynchian. I think that term is overused and misused frequently. But this movie was scratching that kind of itch that I got from experiencing a lot of Lynch films the first time. And not that it's completely incoherent like some of his work is on first watch, but there's a lot of poignant imagery relative to certain things in the story, and the way that Rose Byrne's character is kind of just like processing it. It's fantastic. If you like any kind of just weirdness in your cinema, this movie's great. Just full on anxiety. emotional thriller, stress roller coaster kind of experience. And that might not be everyone's cup of tea. You might not want to experience something like that because maybe your life is a little too stressful. But my God, this movie's fucking awesome. So I think that's it. I think that's all I'm going to say on that. I'm going to move on to the next movie that I saw, which I think right now is quite a polarizing film. It's the new Wuthering Heights adaptation. This is the new Emerald Fennell project starring Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. So there's going to be a common theme about the other couple movies that I talk about today. Wuthering Heights, an adaptation of a novel or novella or something. No, I know nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. I went into this expecting a romance movie with Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi from the psychopath that gave us Saltburn, which was not a fantastic movie by any stretch of the means, but I liked watching it and it was extremely entertaining. I'll say that. Final scene of that movie was like, the final scene of that movie was about as effective as the final scene of Boogie Nights. I'll say that. Just stand up and take a bow. Anyway, this is the new movie from Emerald Fennell. It's an adaptation of romance. Let me read the synopsis. A passionate and tumultuous love story set against the backdrop of the Yorkshire moors, exploring the intense and destructive relationship between Heathcliff and Catherine Earnshaw. Sounds like a romance movie. Seems like not a lot of people love this. And I don't know if it's the adaptation. I don't know if it's just the movie itself. I feel like Emerald Fennell, and from the work that I've seen in the past, is quite polarizing. Wuthering Heights has been adapted like a fucking 100 times. And I, again, know basically nothing about all these adaptations. Earliest known film adaptation was in 1920. It is unknown if any prints still exist. Most famous adaptation, 1939, starring Laurence Olivier. That's probably, most famous, so probably the most acclaimed. There were a few produced for BBC that aired live on television, and there's no known recordings of it, so there's lost for forever. Insane. French miniseries adapting it. 1970, you have Timothy Dalton portraying Heathcliff. Okay, now we're starting to get into the era of people I may know. Another BBC 5-part TV serialization. 1992 film Emily Brandt's Wuthering Heights, starring Ralph Fiennes and Juliette Binoche. Hell yeah. I might have to watch that one. Love me some Rafe. More recent film or TV adaptations. 2009 2-part drama series starring Tom Hardy, Charlotte Riley, Sarah Lancashire, and Andrew Lincoln. Andrew Lincoln? Coral. Who else? We're still not done with the adaptations here. There's still a shitload. Let's see. 2003. A poorly reviewed version on MTV set in a California high school, Wuthering High. That's awesome. A Hindi film doing the adaptation. 2022, Emma Mackey starred in a biopic of Emily Brandt, and I assume that probably has some themes of Wuthering Heights around it as well. And we have this one. I don't know what to say here. I mean, let's be real. This is a movie star performance, or this is an expectation of a movie star performance that's going to put my butt in the seat, and that's to go see Margot Robbie. And that's exactly. I mean, I went to go see it because I wanted to talk about it and talk about these movies on this podcast and whatnot. But Margot Robbie was the draw. Margot Robbie, and from the creator of Saltburn, had me at least intrigued. And actually, the first trailer I saw with the original Charlie XCX music was pretty alluring, I gotta say. And I'm not like a Charlie XCX fan by any means. But I was bait and switched. Bait and switch. That sounds bad. Hook, line, and sinker, I guess I should say. I was interested. It looked beautiful. And I think it was beautiful, with the small exception of a few shots outside Wuthering Heights that had the Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein effect of this shot is painfully on the soundstage and why has this made the final cut kind of thing. But the rest of it, I really enjoyed the cinematography and like the whole color palette. I'm colorblind, so that could always be a red flag there. But there was a lot of the fact that it takes place in like this fact that it takes place in Victorian England lends itself to costumes, castles, extremely ornate kind of decor and imagery. And when you get inside the castle of the neighbor, I mean, production design there is it's just fucking sick. I just vibe with it. Full on, just like FF0000 red floor with white paint on the walls and like the something that you would see in the fucking the catacombs underneath Paris of like skulls and bones and shit, just like stacked on top of the hearth going into the ceiling, while there's just kind of like museum boxes on display around this just like random room in this, what I'm calling a castle, is probably just like a big mansion, but everything inside that house, once we got to that house, every shot in that house was great. It kind of brought that whole castle intrigue feel. And it was, I mean, this was an emotional, I think I used this term for Five Legs I Kick You, so I'm already fucking repeating myself, but like an emotional thriller. I mean, it was a love story, yes. You know what? It felt like an erotic thriller. And God damn it, we need more erotic thrillers in 2026. I just watched Basic Instinct and can't fucking remember the other one, but I just watched Basic Instinct, another like 80s erotic thriller, and they fucking rock, dude. Has everything you want. It's got action. It's got people being backstabbed, dying, sometimes literally backstabbed, killed over jealousy or money or something, and sex and violence. It's fucking awesome. Bring it back. This kind of had that in it. It was scratching that itch for me a little bit, so I was having a good time. Margot Robbie is always a pleasure to watch. No surprise there. And I assume I would agree. Jacob Elordi, also a pleasure to watch. The dude's like a freaking monster. I can't believe I just said that. He is literally Frankenstein in Del Toro's Frankenstein. He is. He's like fucking 7'6" or some shit. He is looming large in this movie. There's a certain shot of him sitting on a kitchen table. I was just like, he is taking up the entire frame here. It's fucking crazy. Watching both of them was fun. It follows their story from childhood to where they get as an adult pair of people, I guess I should say. There may have been a little too much time spent on the childhood kind of origin for me, I guess I should say. And then by the time we got to them being adults, it turned rather quickly. And if anyone knows anything about this story, you know that they spend time apart for a long time, and then they come back together, and then they have to deal with that in their current situation. In addition to, and I haven't done any research on this, but I know that I've been reading it, and I noted it in the theater, where many women around me looked at each other extremely puzzled when the credits rolled, is apparently this adaptation only covers like half of the book. And like we get to a certain pivotal moment in the story, and then credits roll, and everyone around you is just like, is there going to be a part 2? What the fuck is happening here? Apparently it doesn't adapt the entire story. So I have no idea what happens after that. But the climactic scene at the end, again, I thought was really, I'm just going to say really cool production design. Bold, contrasty colors, ornate Victorian decor. I would say moderate to entertaining acting. Great music. I loved the score and loved the original songs by Charlie XCX. I was having a great time doing that, listening, experiencing, whatever. I feel like I'm probably just not as hard on this movie, considering I didn't have any relationship to the story to begin with. So I came out of it and I was like, that was a good time. I enjoyed it. I thought it was far more palatable than Saltburn was. But the fact that this is an adaptation, and again, an adaptation of a book that's been adapted ad nauseum, probably kind of lent itself to more harsh criticism out the gate. But it is what it is. If you Emerald Fennel, wanted to do this story the way that you did it, then congratulations. That's what you did. This was the first new release that I'm going to talk about this episode. And the question is, do you go see this in theaters? I don't think it's necessary. I really don't think so. Kind of like the sprawling landscapes and the extreme kind of scale of the buildings and the sizes of the rooms, and just like everything is at an 11 out of 10, because you're talking about these rich English families that have just, it's just like, you would think that would lend itself really well to a cinematic experience. And I'm simply saying that I didn't think that seeing this in a premium format nonetheless at my local IMC, did anything to help or to hurt it. I think you can catch this one on streaming if you're interested. I don't think there's anything else that I want to say about this movie. It's very horny. It's very horny. All right. I think I'm ready to move on to the next one. Next one, pulled a double feature, went straight out of Wuthering Heights into Crime 101. Hell yeah. The new high-octane heist thriller. Directed by Bart Layton. Bart Layton, I've never heard of you. Who are you, Bart Layton? Tell me about yourself. Bart Layton has got, like, basically no filmography. Banged Up Abroad, The Imposter, American Animals, Crime 101. That's all we got. That's all we got on Bart Layton. Okay. Crime 101, again, another adaptation. I think this time of a novella of the same name. Yep, novella by Don Winslow. This movie stars Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Barry Keoghan, Halle Berry. And I guess I'll just get into it now. This movie also has Monica Barbaro, who's arguably one of the best looking women in the world. It's also got Jennifer Jason Leigh for a scene. And it's also got Nick Nolte for 2 scenes. Fucking why? I have no idea why half of these people were in this movie. No fucking clue. Is it because it's an Amazon MGM movie and they're just like, we have the money to put whoever we want in this movie? Well, I got bad news, guys. You spent $90 million on the budget and it's only made $30 million so far. So whatever you're doing, it's not working. I will say that... fuck. Okay. Before I get into the movie, let me read the synopsis. An elusive thief eyeing his final score encounters a disillusioned insurance broker at her own crossroads. As their paths intertwine, a relentless detective trails them, hoping to thwart the multi-million-dollar heist they are planning. It's a heist movie. It's a good old cat and mouse heist movie. And that's what I got out of it when I left. I had a fine time. I don't think it did anything that I haven't seen before. Chris Hemsworth was criminally underutilized in this movie. Didn't smile once. Was not charming in any way, shape, or form. Which I guess is like okay because, well, actually, no. He lies about being like a computer programmer, which is the kind of personality you would expect from someone who is a computer programmer. Awkward, socially, introvert. But he's not. He's a master meticulous jewel thief, basically. So like you think he'd have a little more swagger in his step. He doesn't. That's okay. Mark Ruffalo's in this movie. Okay. Oh, Jesus. I'm fucking diving into this now. Zodiac is one of my favorite movies of all time. Zodiac has Mark Ruffalo in it as a detective in California, in the Bay Area, which the 101 goes through. 101 goes all the way down to Los Angeles, where this movie takes place. So not 1, but 2, maybe even more. I don't know Mark Ruffalo's entire filmography, where Mark Ruffalo plays a detective in this area in California. The amount of, I don't even know what this experience was, but the joy and embarrassment, I guess I got from one of the pivotal sequences in this movie where Mark Ruffalo and Chris Hemsworth character finally get together and have a conversation was just too much fun. It was too much fun just for me. And it's just because I'm a fucking freak of nature. But in Zodiac, Mark Ruffalo plays a detective, and Robert Downey Jr.'s character, who also Zodiac, 2/6 of the Avengers, Crime 101, also 2/6 of the Avengers. Robert Downey Jr.'s character often playfully banters with Mark Ruffalo's Dave Toschi in the movie and compares him to Jesus Christ, Steve McQueen, specifically calling him Bullet a lot. And then obviously Steve McQueen known for driving like old American muscle cars. And so that joke exists on its own in Zodiac and is just like, if you're a fan of, you know, whatever, again, cat and mouse detective, kind of like noir cinema history, you know, you'll kind of get this joke. You'll understand that they're referring to Dave Toschi as Bullet and stuff like that. It's like, okay, yeah, that's fun. This movie happens again, 2/6 of the Avengers having a conversation, talking about the car that they're in, and as soon as the fucking conversation got on cars, I was like, there's no fucking way they're about to do this. And Mark Ruffalo's character brings up Steve McQueen because they're talking about cars. Chris Hemsworth's character likes to collect classic cars because he's like a fucking billionaire, a secret billionaire from all these jewel heists. It's shown, I think, that he drives like a, I don't know, like a 70, like a classic restored 70 something Camaro earlier in the movie. And he's talking to Mark Ruffalo about that. And then Steve McQueen's name gets dropped and they start talking about their favorite movies or whatever with Steve McQueen and favorite cars and whatever. And of course, Mark Ruffalo's character, while he's trying to secretly interrogate Chris Hemsworth's character because he knows he's the jewel thief, and Chris Hemsworth is kind of feeling out this conversation, he asks him if Bullet is his favorite Steve McQueen movie. And when the line of dialogue was coming up, I was like, don't say Bullet, don't say Bullet. And he did. And I just covered my face. And I was so happy that I had the cinema lore, I guess, to know that was coming. And also so embarrassed to be like, I can't believe that this is happening again. I can't believe we're talking about Bullet and Steve McQueen for the second movie that I mean, fucking again, Zodiac's one of my favorite movies. I watch that movie multiple times a year, probably. Watched it probably in the last 6 months, and here we are again with Mark Ruffalo's detective character. I was so giddy. That's the kind of thing that is just like, that might have been full reward for the amount of time I've spent watching movies in the last few years, to just know that is what's coming. And who knows? I mean, maybe the screenwriter, also by Bart Layton, took inspiration from it. Another kind of crime thriller around the same area. Maybe that's why he wanted Mark Ruffalo. I don't know. So anyway, that's my tangent on Steve McQueen and Mark Ruffalo. This movie is fine. Again, it's a crime thriller that, to me, didn't do anything new or didn't do anything original. Chris Hemsworth was fine. His Australian accent slipped out a dozen times, and I'm just like, every single time, I just head in the hands. I'm like, this guy is one of the most charismatic on-screen presences you have, mainly in the MCU in the last 15 years, as Thor. And you've got him being like this quiet, shy, introverted, timid character, especially when he's out on his dates with Monica Barbaro and like trying to get to know her. He's so awkward. And there might be a little bit of like sly charisma in there, but I just don't think this was suited well for Hemsworth. Halle Berry's great. She's always great. Ruffalo's great. He's usually always great. Barry Keoghan kind of plays the heel in this movie. He's great at doing that. He's got an extremely punchable face. Again, the roles of Monica Barbaro, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Nick Nolte in this movie, I have no idea. I have no idea why that they were in this movie. Nick Nolte sounds like he's on his deathbed, which is sad to say because Nick Nolte is a legend. And considering the fact that like it feels like we've been losing one legendary actor after another these days. If you like any kind of crime thriller, you're probably going to like this movie. It feels like a pretty copy-paste formula at this point. Same thing, though. Like, do you go see this movie in theaters? Again, you'd think the scale of the language of cinema kind of lending itself really well to loud gunfights and car chases and action set pieces and stuff. And it's just like, there just wasn't anything here that really wowed me. There wasn't anything here that put a star of approval on it. It was just a crime thriller. I've said that 1,000 times. I'm going to say it again. It's just a crime thriller. It'll probably be on Prime Video in less than 4 weeks. You got 2.5 hours, I think. Yeah, 140 minutes to spare. You can give it a watch, but watch Heat instead. If you want a crime thriller, if you haven't seen anything, watch Heat. Watch Michael Mann's Heat. And you'll understand why every other crime thriller is just a derivative of that. I don't think there's anything else I want to say here. Third movie that I can recall. Second one was One Battle After Another. And something else did somewhere else. And I think it was last year in 2025. I started seeing people attaching cameras to car doors when opening and closing the car door. Because I remember seeing it and being like, I've never seen that before. Maybe I hadn't ever seen it before, but to the degree to where it's like mounted, full on mounted, and you follow the character into the door as they close it, or into the car as they close it, or follow them outside it as they open it and then get out. I think it was in a movie in 2025, and it was like the first time I'd seen it and been like, oh, they're doing that now? We're doing this now? And then it happened in One Battle once or twice, and I'm like, okay, we're doing this now. And then they do it like 6 times in this movie as well. I'm like, okay, clearly everyone's doing this now. If there's a car in your movie, we're mounting a camera to the car door. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. The last thing I have to say about this movie might not go over well. But I gotta be honest, I don't really care. Because I don't really care. Let me explain myself. This movie, I don't understand exactly what it's trying to say. I don't understand exactly what it's trying to tell me. There's a lot of what feels like kind of like apologetic, might not be the word I'm looking for, but like woe is me kind of idea in this movie about being a citizen in Los Angeles and not being able to make ends meet, basically. There's a handful of like B-roll footage of like homeless solicitors and whatnot just on the streets of LA. And obviously, you know, Chris Hemsworth's character has to, we don't really know, and I don't know if it's explored in the novella, but we don't really know exactly. All we get is that he got in with some bad people and he wants to make enough money to know that he is well off the rest of his life. And so he's a jewel thief. And is this supposed to be like a projection of what living in Los Angeles is like? Like you are either broke or you have to do whatever it takes, essentially. Not necessarily become a criminal, but do whatever it takes, whatever you're willing to do to pay the bills at the end of the day. It just felt like the movie wanted me to feel sorry for Los Angeles, and I just don't think that I'm ever going to feel sorry for Los Angeles. And I don't know if that's a pessimistic outlook or what, but I feel like anybody who doesn't live in Los Angeles looks at Los Angeles as like one of the few beacons of something. It's the city of angels. It's where stars are born. It's where it's always sunny and 70 degrees out, and the dudes are rich and the women are hot, and you go there to chase your dreams. Like, I understand that that is just an idea and that it's just a city. But to have that kind of idea looming over the history of your city, and then to have a movie or write a novella about it just being like, it's actually not that great here. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. I don't know. Maybe a little too rough around the edges. Maybe I'm way off. I don't know. Who gives a shit? Let's move on to the last movie. Oh my God. The last movie we're going to talk about is The Secret Agent. Coming right out of the gate, this movie was awesome. This movie was fantastic. This movie is, I think, competing for Best International Film, and Wagner Moura, I believe, is nominated for Best Actor. This movie, like If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, has some incredibly original and unapologetic ideas that are just thrown into your face almost to a degree of downfall. Like there was a moment where I unfortunately had to walk out of the theater and came back just 2 minutes later, and we had changed scenes, and you would not believe what that experience was like. There's a very specific scene I'm talking about, or scene transition I'm talking about in this movie. And I came back to see something that I had no idea was possible. Completely wacky. Another 2.5 hour joint. This movie's completely worth it. This movie is worth every single minute. Let me read the synopsis before I get too far ahead of myself. In 1977, a technology expert flees from a mysterious past and returns to his hometown, Recife, in search of peace. He soon realizes that the city is far from being the refuge he seeks. So, like I said earlier, this movie stars Wagner Moura. I unfortunately don't know anybody else in this movie, and I'm not going to butcher their names. I don't even butcher the director's name, Kleber Mendoza Filho, and I don't know anything else about them, if I'm being honest. So maybe a little insensitive on my part. Damn it, I've been saying 97th Academy Awards for the last 2 days. It's the 98th. Anyway, so that's a synopsis for The Secret Agent, and Wagner Moura is our a vehicle in this movie. He's great. And also, admittedly, I know basically nothing about Wagner Moura. I know that he's in the show Narcos. I know he plays Pablo Escobar in Narcos. Never seen a single episode. I've looked at his work. I don't think I've never seen him in anything. I had a really good time watching him on screen. Was he best actor material? I personally didn't feel that, but the culmination of everything that was this movie was phenomenal. 5 stars, phenomenal. It itself, I want to dive into. These are Wagner Moura. Is it best international? And probably even no, doesn't have any screenplay noms. That's rough. Yeah, best international. We have It Was Just an Accident, which was also very good, but I think that I lean a little more Secret Agent in just my flavor of film. Sentimental Value, also very good. Sarat and the voice of Hind Rajab. I actually don't know anything about that movie. And Sarat, I don't know if that's showing anywhere around here. I don't know if I'll be able to catch it by the time the Oscars are on. But all I can say is that The Secret Agent was fantastic. Both of these movies that I've talked about today that are not the new release movies, Wuthering Heights and Crime 101, are streaming movies through and through, if you have any interest in them. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You and The Secret Agent, by God, if you have the ability to watch these in theaters, please do. Even if you don't, please still watch them. These are unbelievable films. Five Legs, I'd Kick You is, I don't know if I call it extremely emotional, but extremely relatable. And I don't know, disappointing, but not like disappointing like I was disappointed in the movie, but like the subject matter was disappointing. It's kind of a downer, but it's a phenomenal movie. The Secret Agent is a great time. It's got some pretty fucked up shit in it, not gonna lie. Again, another thriller, kind of like a political thriller, kind of like a, I don't know, neo-noir kind of thriller. There's a lot of, it's told in a traditional 3-act structure, but there's a lot of jumping around in the timeline of Wagner Moore's character before and after, basically, and even more than just that as well. This movie, obviously, mostly in Portuguese, so if you're unfortunately not into if you're not into foreign films where you have to read subtitles, I'm sorry, but get used to it because this movie is fucking awesome. It's worth it. It's worth the reading. If you watch, I don't like watching trailers. I think I've said it on this show before. I don't like watching trailers. Everyone knows they give away too much, and they're just terrible. They're terrible nowadays. They don't get me excited for the movie. They tell too much of the story. They make the movie feel more predictable than it needs to be. Just tell me who's directing it, who's starring in it. Maybe read the 3-sentence synopsis. It's good enough. Watch the trailer to this movie, because you will come out of it and you will not be disappointed. There's a specific scene, I think, in the first official trailer that dropped, which is one of the kind of like the introduction to the big climax of the movie. And it's simply when there's a gentleman calling out to Wagner Moore's character, calling him by his name, and you, in seconds, can feel the dread just drop on the entire room. Watch the trailer and feel that, and understand that Wagner Moura is trying to lay low from, again, what you'll see in the trailer, hitmen and like a corrupt police force while he's trying to escape the country. Watch that scene and you'll get chills. And it only gets better in the movie. This movie was incredibly pretty too. Definitely shot on the anamorphic lens. So that really, real widescreen framing, and almost kind of reminded me of like a Western, which is kind of strange because I historically am kind of allergic to Westerns. I don't really get them. I don't really have a good time with them. Hell, I watched Butch and Sundance and I was like, this is not for me. I don't care who you are. This is just not for me. I watched Tombstone. I had a good time with Tombstone. But this movie kind of, it feels like it pulls inspiration from Westerns, but it was fantastic. Oh yeah. Last thing I say, because it's about time to wrap this up. This movie takes place in 1977. The movie tells you that it takes place in 1977. And then the movie shows you over and over and over again that this movie takes place in 1977. And if you're a fan of cinema and historic cinema, you will have a good time kind of catching those little, I don't want to say Easter eggs, but like, listen, there's one movie I think of when I hear 1977. One jumps out immediately when I hear the year 1977. And I think that lends itself pretty well to this movie. I'm not going to lie. Especially the visual transitions, that's for sure. And then another entire kind of part of this, the entire setting of this movie just takes place in the upstairs of a cinema. And there's another very popular 70s movie that is referenced multiple times and actually kind of is part of the plot in a way. So The Secret Agent, 100% fantastic. Seek this movie out. I, again, don't want to do speculation. I've only seen 3 of the 5 international features that are nominated, but my God, at least out of the 3, Sentimental Value, It Was Just an Accident, and The Secret Agent, this one is it. Not quite by a landslide. I really, really enjoyed It Was Just an Accident. Completely different tone than this movie, though. Completely different tone. I was expecting the tone of The Secret Agent in It Was Just an Accident, and I didn't get that. And that was good. That was a strong subversion of expectations. I was not expecting It Was Just an Accident to be as funny as it was, which is crazy to say. But The Secret Agent is exactly what I wanted in this movie. And again, it's just kind of more my flavor. So I really hope that this takes international feature, and I hope more people watch this movie. This is a movie that I can recommend, and I'll say that this is just a fantastic movie through and through. I can understand people maybe not wanting to watch If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You due to, I don't know, take your choice, dark subject matter, anxiety inducing. You know, there's kind of like a whole kind of secret language in the movie about these mothers and them not saying these things to get them off their chests because they have to be mothers to these daughters. And Rose Byrne's character is the only one that doesn't believe that that's true, and she just speaks her mind, and it's like extremely, extremely invigorating, and like she kind of has this release, you know. But at the end of the day, it's still kind of like a pretty disappointing movie. Again, not disappointing like I was disappointed in it, but just the struggle is real with that one. So, all right, I think that'll do it for today. I think I went a little over on what I was anticipating, but I'll try to keep this under an hour. Great. This is fantastic. I had to axe a new release this week to catch up on everything and get this episode out, which I will hopefully be getting out this weekend. But I don't remember what came out this week. How to Make a Killing. That was the only one I really wanted to see. And I think I saw the tail end of a trailer for Psycho Killer. And then I saw a headline not too long ago that Psycho Killer has like a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, which again doesn't mean anything, but like it kind of means something. There are degrees in which case critical score on a major platform like Rotten Tomatoes may actually have some kind of weight behind it. A movie having 100% on Rotten Tomatoes anymore, I feel like happens quite frequently. And that as time progresses, that score will drop, but everyone loves to advertise that a movie has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and everybody likes to tell everybody that a movie has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and you should go see this because it has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. This movie having a 0%? Jesus Christ. All right, guess I'm not seeing Psycho Killer. Not that much interest, you know? But How to Make a Killing does look interesting. R-rated comedy. Glenn Powell. I don't know anything else about it, but it looked fun. That's all I need. Fun and entertaining. Well, I guess I also thought I was going to get that in The Running Man, and I didn't really get that, but that wasn't Glenn Powell's fault, sadly. Yeah, and then I don't know what next week is, but that's irrelevant. Whatever it is, if I choose to see it, I'll probably just put an episode out. And then I think we're shortly after, we're at the Academy Awards, and then Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride. Kind of looking forward to that, so probably expect an episode on that as well. But all right, I think that'll do it. Thank you for listening.